Revenge of the Sith in the building.
What? Let's no.
Star Wars,
I mean,
man.
yeah, but it's like I know. Thank you for clarifying that that was Star Wars.
Welcome to the Christian Board Gamers Podcast, where we focus on Jesus, community, and board games. Let's have some fun.
What is up, everyone? My name is Joe Bragg. Thank you so much for listening to the Christian Board Gamers Podcast. I am joined, as always, by my dear brother Ray, and we are excited to chat about Jesus, the Bible, Christian living, board games, life in general. There is no telling where we might go. Ray, how are you doing this fine evening?
What's up, Joe, and everybody listening? I'm doing fantastic and excited once again to be back behind the mic.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've recorded because we adjusted based on schedules, and so it's been a few weeks. So
yeah, it has. Yeah, it definitely feels longer than it has been. But when you get off of that regular recording schedule, it makes you long for the mic, you know.
long for the mic. Yeah, no doubt. It is good to be back, though, for sure. I'm excited for this episode as well. So we want to talk about our sponsors because this episode is sponsored in part by Living Water Gaming. Their mission is to be the one-stop shop for Christian games and gaming accessories. You can visit livingwatergaming.com to learn more. That's livingwatergaming.com to learn more. And we are also sponsored by Refocus Creative. Resourceful video marketing solutions. Refocus Creative offers high-quality professional video production services for any of your business marketing needs. You can contact them at info@refocuscreative.com. That's info@refocuscreative.com to schedule a free chat and discuss your media needs. Man, huge shout out and thanks to our sponsors. We do hope y'all are checking them out. Go visit the website, even just to see what it is. Again, livingwatergaming.com, refocuscreative.com. Go support these brothers in Christ and what they're doing. So huge shout out to them. And in other news, man, I can't believe we're announcing another one of these. Super excited.
This is sweet.
Yeah, man, we're announcing the next Game Changer Board Gaming Retreat, and it is September 20th through the 22nd at Camp Living Waters in Luther, Michigan. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. If it's anything like what we just had in April, it is going to be dope. It's going to be filled with gaming, praise, worship, prayer, messages. We are super excited. And registration is officially open, so you can learn more and register at camplivingwaters.org/game-changer. That's camplivingwaters.org/game-changer. Still my favorite URL in the game. Love saying it. It's what's up. But really, really want to encourage y'all to check it out. If you missed the first one, now we got you covered. You can check this second one out. And if you made it to the first one and you want to come back to the second one, man, we'd love to have you because it was a super, super dope time. Which kind of brings us right into a little bit of a recap from the Game Changer because we didn't do that because we recorded previously.
Yep.
Excuse me, I just burped. My bad. Hey, excuse me. Mid speaking. That was good. How do you recover from that? Either way,
we'll just keep
you
going.
just keep going. But yeah, so we pre-recorded and got off of our rhythm, so we did not do a recap of the Game Changer, and so thought it'd be good to talk about that for a little bit here. And we know that and recognize that we have been talking about testimonies. Like we had Sam Healy on and he shared his journey, which was super dope and wrapped into a lot of board game stuff as well. I shared my story. Ray shared his. And so we wanted to get back and have a much more heavy game, board game focused episode. So that's what you're going to get out of this one. So if you're not into board games, you can skip this one and you can go back and listen to the spiritual stuff. And if you're into the spiritual stuff, but you also want to really just hear about board games, this is your episode.
This is Congrats. For you.
So yeah. So the Game Changer retreat was awesome, man. It was pretty surreal. Again, we ended up having some people that couldn't make it in the last minute. So we had a family that dropped off or whatever, but I think we ended up with 53 people registered. Wow. And then we had some myself and some other people that were helping make the camp happen. So there's about 60 of us overall,
Mm.
and which is a great number, man, for the first
Yeah.
time. I mean, that
Yeah,
was really
absolutely.
exciting, right? Like I would share with people like, oh, there's probably going to be about close to 60 of us. And people would be like, wow, for your first event, like that's a really good showing. And I was like, yeah, it is. I mean, we're super stoked. We were going to do this thing if we had 15 people. So the fact that we had 60
Yeah.
exceeded expectations.
Praise God for
And
that, man.
yeah, it was just a ton of fun, and it was super cool, man. What I love about like game conventions in general is it's like, people can just show up and everyone just will say, come sit at my table. Let's play this game. You want to play this
Uh-huh.
game? You want to try this? And so like a lot of that obviously going on. But what was awesome about this is we also had times to lift our voices in praise.
Mm.
And we heard a phenomenal set of messages from our brother, Kurt Peters. And it was really cool, man. He was talking about how Jesus is the ultimate game changer, right?
Mm.
And that was kind of the first message, that Jesus is the game changer and he changes our lives. Like he's in the business of transforming lives. And then the second one was about how we can go and be game changers for others, right?
Mm.
And we live out the gospel call, which I love and you love. And we spent so many times on this podcast talking about how, we're ambassadors for Christ.
Yes.
And so after he was done, I just shared with the group, I was like, look, like we are ambassadors of the King. And we've been given this incredible tool in board games to be able to invite people to the table, to be able to hang out, to be able to just meet them where they're at, man, and have an opportunity to break bread where they might not accept a church invite, but they would accept an invite to your house, maybe to a meal, and to go and play games. And we had Eric Anderson from Nerd Chapel, which this is his whole mission, right? Like, how does he connect the gospel to nerd culture? And I just loved that. And basically he had an opportunity to kind of share and talk about his heart and how he has these different events and how he wants to be able to bring people to the table to be able to just engage them relationally and then ultimately share the gospel and
Mm.
and just have tools for some sometimes in the board game space, man, it's almost like these cats can be marginalized, right?
Mm.
Because just depending on how maybe the church views it. I know there was years and years and years ago, you have the whole thing with D&D, and it's like if you play D&D, you're worshiping Satan and all this kind of
Yep.
stuff. And so board games sometimes get a bad rap and get pushed into this space that I don't think it's fair. And so it's just really cool to be able to bridge the gap. But either way, kind of charged everyone there. And I said, hey, look, I'm gonna borrow a page from like Paul's book when he's talking to Timothy here. And he's like, don't let anyone look down at you for your youth, right? But I was like, don't let anyone look down at you because you're a board gamer. Like God has given you a gift. Go and
Mm-hmm.
use it for his kingdom. Go and use it to glorify him and to preach the gospel, and just meet people in the space that they're in. And it's fun, right? Like how cool is that? Like that, that God would give us such a tool. Because I
Yeah.
really do. I really believe that. And I think that in general, that board games are a tool to be able to just connect with people and
Absolutely.
have fun. And so a lot of that was
Absolutely.
going on, man. We had like over 409 games. Now I will tell you this, it was way too many games. It's always nice. It's like, wow, look at how many games we have, but there ain't no way 60 people are playing
You're getting
400.
through all that. Yeah.
Nah, no, a lot of
Yeah.
games were played and it was cool to have options, but some of the feedback we got was, hey, too many options.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, yeah, that's fair because you end up in like decision, this analysis paralysis, this AP where you're like, what game do we play? Well, I don't know. We could play this one or this one or this one or this one. I
Right.
don't know which
Right.
one to play.
Yep.
I tend to kind of go into it like either knowing what I want to play or seeing something pretty quickly and making that decision, but that's not everybody.
Now, did you have a schedule of like gameplay for say like okay 1 o'clock everybody who wants to play this game
Yeah.
meet at this table?
So not this time, but we will in September because that was some
Okay.
feedback we got and we already knew it. Like really, this first one was just to see if there was interest. Like would people
Yeah.
want to come to a campground, in this case in Luther, Michigan, and hang out and play board games and sing praises and have worship and messages and all that. Like it was really like, is there interest?
Yep.
And then there was, and we're like, okay, there's interest. And we knew we were going to learn a lot. and we wanted to work on our schedule and just make sure that some things were being done well, right? So
Uh-huh.
then now we got some feedback. We already knew, yeah, we need to get events on there, like where people could teach particular games. We have a schedule, so like you could do
Yeah,
all that. So
sure.
that's feedback that we took, but we kind of knew going in that was going to be where we needed to get to. Um, Obviously, that creates another layer of work and schedule and all
Yep.
that, which is fine,
Yep.
but it'll make for a better experience.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's feedback we took and we're gonna bring into the September
Cool.
one, which I think is really good. But yeah, overall, man, it was such a fantastic time. The food was phenomenal.
That's
Uh
always a plus. Yes.
yeah,
Very
Bo,
important for a successful weekend.
no doubt. Bo, the executive director of Camp Living Waters, always does a phenomenal job with food. But he had this volunteer chef, Stephanie, and when she's there, oh, man, she goes above and beyond. And she
Mm.
came and literally volunteered her time for the weekend, and we ate well, man. I mean,
Wow, that sounds great.
yeah, he smoked some pork and some
Mm.
beef and made these phenomenal tacos. It was all good, man. And then
Yeah.
Stephanie just amped it up, took it to
Yeah.
that next space, bro. And so, the eats were really, really good. Which is definitely a bonus for
Yeah.
sure.
Hey,
Uh,
did you hear of anybody who came? So we've been advertising this thing and knowing that this is a Christ-centered fellowship gaming conference. So come play board games, but then you're going to hear a message as well. Did you hear of anybody that brought like a friend, family member, somebody who actually was not a Christ follower, but loved board games and used it as a tool to be able to fellowship with them and bring them into a different experience?
so not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be super dope, but we didn't ask. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
could have been that case or that situation. Um, I'll put it this way: there was one group that was there that I knew there were some struggles and stuff, and so this sort of weekend was needed for them. How that
Mm.
all kind of came to be, I'm not entirely sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a benefit in that regard for sure.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know the backstory as to like, if this person was using it as outreach, but I honestly that might have very well been the case if I were to dig more,
Yeah.
just knowing the group and all that. But
Yeah.
again, in that moment, I'll be honest, I was running around a lot and then trying to engage, and then also sit down and play games and connect with people because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
There was a lot of people. I mean, most of the people there were from the Christian Board Gamers group, which was really, really cool. And
Sweet.
so getting to meet people that have interacted in that group for the first time in person was really cool.
Yep.
Anthony D'Astello, who's been doing Allies of Majesty, he drove up from Ohio, and that was really cool. And so he got to
Wow.
share his game with a couple people. And dude was on fire. Just about every game he like learned and taught, he won, which was pretty impressive. He sounds like a Ray because Ray does that all the time for some reason. Yeah, Ray over here winning every game he plays. But yeah, it was really cool to have him present. And there was another designer, Jason. I did not get a chance to sit down and play his game, but he played his game with a number of people, which was really cool. And he was able to get some feedback and
Sweet.
just play test. And then it was literally just like I said, there was games aplenty. And so yeah, lots of things were played. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but
Yep.
because we're gonna dive into games we played and all that jazz. But I was gonna make some funny joke, but in all honesty, man, I'm really glad that you got to go with your family on this cruise, and I heard that it was a phenomenal time. So
Yeah.
how was your time on the cruise?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I was not able to make the Game Changer retreat because I did go on a cruise, but fortunately, I was able to go on a cruise with my family. So it's, you want one or the other, and thank the Lord that we're putting another one on. It'll be in September, and I'll be there, Lord willing. But the cruise was amazing, man. We went Eastern Caribbean. We had 3 stops, one in Puerto Rico. We went San Juan, Puerto Rico. We went to St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Island, and then we also went to like the Princess K Bahamas. But it was my wife, Kim, my brother and his family, which there's 6 of them in total. And it was their first cruise, and that maybe was more one of my highlights of being on the ship. Me and my brother are very close, and my nephews and niece really close, and so just getting to hang out with them all the time and have that extended time with them. And then my mom has there's eight of them total as well. So brothers and sisters, two sisters and six brothers, and then one of my cousins was on the ship as well. So just a great time, beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, a lot of fun. Got some great time away and rest and relaxation. I did manage to play a couple rounds of Meet Heroes Clash, and play it with my nieces and nephews. It's pretty fun. The setup, the ship, they have the scheduling on there every hour on the hour. There's like tons and tons and tons of stuff to do, and this ship is very separated in different areas, and so there were some board game spots. This cruise line is a little bit older cruise. I would say the average age of the passengers on this is a little bit older than, like, let's say like a Carnival cruise line, which is a little bit more of a fun kind of party. And so I caught a lot of people playing cards, like older couples and groups, like at random tables playing cards, and there were a couple games that looked pretty interesting. I should have made some conversation, but honestly, I was so involved with like family time and doing all this family stuff together. I didn't have a lot of time to just go fellowship with other people and kind of my hope was when I actually played Clash, we were right on like the main deck on one of the main tables. So my hope was like people would just come over and be like, hey, what are you guys playing? I'd be like, well, let me tell you what I'm playing. Listen, you can go online right now and get this game, but unfortunately that did not happen, but we still had a great time. My nieces and nephews, they loved it. Loved the game. We had a lot of fun. I did win. I was trying not to win, if you can believe. I was like trying to let one of them win. But it just so happened, I did. But yeah, it was a great time. Thanks for asking, man. And looking forward to the next Game Changer convention though, and being able to experience all that you were just talking about.
No doubt. Well, and I need to go and experience a cruise of such magnitude. I think I'm going to book one in September, actually, and then you.
Right.
No, but that's good. Well, I'm super glad that you were able to get time with your family. That's always needed, and it sounds like there was a grip of y'all, man, like a whole bunch
19
of you
of us running around the ship, man, matching shirts.
That's super cool. Yeah, the matching shirts thing, it's like, well, now I know where my family is. This is good. Like, when we went to Disney, I did not realize how thankful I was for matching shirts. But that's super cool, dude. I'm glad you had that experience and came back refreshed and recharged and just ready to go, which is super dope. So we're now going to dive into our topic of the week.
Topic of the week,
which is board games. Topic of the week, man. We got to talk about games. We said it in the beginning. All we were going to do on this episode is talk about games because this is a board game podcast. And yeah, man, we've dove into a lot of spiritual things, and it's been super dope. And we've really enjoyed that. And we're going to keep doing that. That's actually not going to change. A little foreshadowing for you. Our next episode, we are actually going to talk about kingdom-inspired diversity in board games. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to be a super dope topic, because it's something Ray and I are both passionate about, and it's going to be awesome. And what's even cooler is that in the future, we're going to be featured on another podcast having the same discussion about that topic. So really, if you guys could see what I could see right now, Ray's studio is like falling apart. His soundproofing is just falling.
I have a cat that's real curious about what's happening on the other side of this soundproofing, and I think he's trying to sabotage me, man.
I just laughed so hard I started coughing.
Wow. He's trying to make a catio.
And now,
you see what I did there? Yeah. All right. Anywho, back to board games.
I don't know that I wanted to see or hear what you did. Trying to make a catio. That's good.
Yeah. All right.
And he's definitely done that, because that's all I see now is a giant cat in the screen. Because if you remember, Ray is the cat daddy.
Yes.
And he always notes that it's he and his wife that have 3 cats.
It is us together. It's not me with 3 cats. It is us together.
Look, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to bless Ray, you can bless Ray with any of the several cat themed games that are out there. Ray is always looking for cat memorabilia. We have a
Oh
staff member
gosh.
on YFC that runs our YFC thrift store, and he always collects the cat stuff for Ray and gives it to Ray every Christmas. And
It's
it
such a
is
joy.
always epic. We
It's
all
such
look
a
forward.
joy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
always look
Especially
forward
me,
to it.
Joe. Especially me.
Yeah,
I
I can
really look
imagine.
forward to that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful, man. Thank goodness for that thrift store and all the cat
All the
things that
cat
people
stuff,
want to get rid
bro.
of. Yeah.
Some of the
But
most
anyways,
amazing
let's talk
things.
about these games, Joe. Let's talk about these board games and get
I don't
back on
know, man.
topic here.
I think you need to put that cat shirt on or whatever that you got and you need to get that picture posted
Oh no.
somewhere
Oh
on
no.
the
When we go, you
no.
know what? Here's a promise to our listeners. When we go to video, if I still have it, I might have gave it away. I don't know. But if I still
No.
have it, I will put that
Uh,
cat shirt on for one of our episodes.
you heard it here first, bro. It's incredible, actually.
Yes.
It's an incredible shirt. But yeah, board games. We completely digressed into cats
Yes.
because your cat was like Godzilla in your studio. It's kind
Oh
of
my
incredible.
gosh. Yeah.
Oh, that was good. I really appreciated that. Yeah, so so the game changer retreat, one of my primary goals was to play games that I hadn't played. And I was successful in that, with the exception of I played two that I had played prior, which was Anachrony and the new redux of Shipwrights of the North Sea, which I'll talk a little bit about in a second. But my goal really was to connect with people and play games I hadn't played. And so my first game of the retreat was Wyrmspan, which is the dragon version of Wingspan. Now, I have admittedly not been a fan of Wingspan.
Yeah, that's what I heard you say.
Yeah, I've not been a fan, but I sat down at the table I like dragons, right? I was like, dragons are cool. I'd be more of a dragon watcher than a bird watcher if I had to choose. And so I sat down and I actually I liked Wyrmspan. It was a lot to take in at first, but then once I got moving, I'm like, oh, this isn't overwhelmingly complicated, which is good. I felt like there was a lot more going on for me, which I could do. There was a little bit more strategy. I enjoyed the tableau building because it made a little bit more sense to me than Wingspan did. It was a little bit more of a challenge to get some things going, which I enjoyed. I got absolutely destroyed. I had the lowest point total. Now, to be fair, at about halfway through, well, 3/4 of the way through, I started setting up and teaching another game. So I was running in between turns, setting a game up and teaching another game.
That's talent.
And then eventually started playing that game with them as I was finishing Wyrmspan. So I got smoked. But I did enjoy the game much more than I enjoyed Wingspan, which was good. So I was very happy that was kind of the start of the retreat for me, and it started off pretty well. I'm sorry, your cat is cracking me up.
Yeah,
bro.
man. I'm sorry.
No,
it's not
don't
like I can really
apologize.
just like lock them away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah,
You don't need to
inquisitive
apologize.
creatures.
It's just funny because on my end, his head just comes right into view.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's good. It's good. Yeah, this will be good. It's board games and cats. That's the topic of the week. But yeah, so that was a really cool start to it all. And then Shipwrights of the North Sea was the game I was setting up and then teaching and then playing It's the Redux. And I just want to tell you all, so I actually didn't really mind the original release of Shipwrights. Again, I understood the flaws and there were some house rules we implemented, and that could be a whole nother topic as far as some people love house rules, some people hate them. In the original one, we felt like some house rules were necessary. We sort of changed the drafting mechanism and all that. But the Redux is a phenomenal game. It plays really, really well. It plays very, very quickly. And it's cool because there's a drafting mechanic. You have a hand of cards. You're selecting the ones you want. You're trying to build these ships to gain points. You have these different types of craftsmen that you've got to collect in order to build the ships. You're collecting resources in order to have them to build the ships, and it's got a worker placement element into it, so you're able to place your your workers on different things to gain resources and just stuff that you need, right? So it's a worker placement, resource management, kind of like a drafting mechanic, which is sort of how you're going to build your hand, and just really, really neat. And what I like about it is like, you can take the craftsmen and you could pay gold to actually attach them to one of your buildings. And then that allowed you more stuff when you went into your worker placement areas. And so you could like upgrade these spaces, just a lot going on. But what I really dug about it is after the draft, everything's done simultaneously. So you're not playing in turn order. Everyone's
Yeah.
just doing everything at the same time. And that was a really awesome decision on their part. Now you could teach it in turn order, and like so, if you had to slow it down for people, you could do it in turn order.
Yeah.
But it's so nice that everything plays simultaneously, especially for that. Again, like any Garfield game, you just have to figure out the symbols. Once you've got the symbols on lock, you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing. But really satisfying play, and it plays in an hour. Because you have all the simultaneous, play going on, like a two-player game can go real quick if both people know how to play it. I think Chris and I played it in the second time, so we played it twice that night. The second time we played it in literally, like, I would say 30 minutes max. So
Oh,
we
wow.
played it very quick at a two-player game. But it plays fast. I played it at 4, 3, and 2, and yeah, 5 is sorry, I had to look. 5 is the play, the max play count. But yeah, so it was just really good. It's a really, really fun game. So I definitely want to recommend Shipwrights of the North Sea. If you haven't played the first one, even better, because you won't know any of the changes. If you have played the first one, give this Redux a shot. I think they really knocked it out of the park. But I really like Garfield games, and have Ezra and Nehemiah coming soon from them, so I'm really, really excited about that.
Man, they do some great artwork too. It's Shem Phillips, right? Who's the artist? That's
Shem's the designer. His brother
he's the designer.
Sam
Okay.
is the artist.
There
Yeah.
you go. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So the artwork on all the cards and
So good.
the box and everything, man, is really good. I like really like it.
Yeah, and Sam is like one of my favorite board game artists, man. He does such a good job. And I posted in the Christian Board Gamers group because I recently got the 5 solas,
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
I got the 5 solas done by him.
Yep.
When I saw that he had that, I was like, yo, that is so dope. And my wife even really liked them. And so we have them in our living room now hanging up, which is sweet. And he was
they look
running
really good too. I saw the
man.
picture that you posted of it, man, and they look really good.
Yeah, and it fits that style too. So it's kind of neat to have like your favorite board game artist who's also like a believer who also makes Christ-centric things that you can hang in your house. And when I got the 5 solas, he was running a deal where you could get any other print you wanted. And so I'm going to hang this next one up in my board game area. I just have to get it printed out, but I got this one. It's like Jesus is King, and it's super dope. It's like half the image is Christ with the crown of thorns, but then it like melds into a king's crown, and it's like a restored. It's super, super dope looking. I'll take a picture of it once I have it, but I just think it's really awesome to see that, out of an artist that I really like their artwork. But then also knowing that he's Christ-centered and loves Jesus enough to, make Christ-centric artwork as well. Super, super cool. And so for me, it's a neat conversational piece to be like, yeah, it's actually my 4 favorite board game designers art. And then people are like, wait, what? And then you can break out the games and be like, yeah, this is his artwork. And also too, like, Sam doesn't do all the art on all the games, but he's got a series that he's done with Shem as well. So yeah, there's just a lot of really good pieces in that series, but I'm a fan of the games. I think they've always got some really unique mechanics. They're a lot of fun, and once you figure out the symbols, they're relatively easy to teach. Not all of them though. Paladins is a bear. It's a beast of a game. Either way, we can sit there and talk all day about Garfield games. No problems there. I also played Marvel Zombies, which was super interesting. I don't want to say good. I don't know what my experience was with that. I enjoyed the group I was playing it with, but I don't know. I'm not a big dungeon crawl kind of guy, and this is sort of a dungeon crawl type theme. I was Hulk, and I was like mad that Hulk couldn't just bust through walls. I'm like, what did like Hulk just like? I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. Like I'm Hulk, and I'm like, I can't. I have to walk through a door. Like, it says who? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, that's
and we did it with like we went through the whole thing, and it was like almost too easy, right? Like it didn't pose a challenge. And then so I only played through the tutorial. The other guys decided they were going to keep playing, and they played it one more time, like on an easy level, and then played it on the hardest level. And they were like, we didn't even get touched. I'm like, yeah, it just doesn't. I don't know. It didn't. and they made sure they were playing it correct too.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't wow me. Now, what did wow me about the game was the miniatures, man.
The
Like the
minis,
pieces, yeah, the pieces
they
were
are
fire. Like,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, really, really cool. But I don't know, man. Like, I didn't get blown away with it. It was something that everyone's like, oh, you got to play it. And I played it, and I was not, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't walking away going, wow, man, I have to get
Uh-huh.
that. I actually walked away and said, cool, I don't have to buy that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But
There does have to be a certain level of a challenge to feel like, you accomplish something in the end, especially
yeah.
if you're going through what is it? Remind me the name of the game that we played at the game night at your house on the ship, and the ship is
Oh,
blowing up.
Dead Men
And
Tell No Tales.
Dead Men Tell No Tales, right? Like
Yeah,
there's like if you make it through that,
bro.
you're like, oh, I did something. I accomplished
Yes.
something here, and you feel victorious for a reason. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
if you just walk through, you're like, it's okay, but it's a walkthrough. There has to be some level of challenge there.
Have we talked about that game on this podcast?
I don't know. Did we talk about it after we played it?
I don't know because I don't, man, I don't even remember. It feels like we've been doing this for years, but simultaneously, like we haven't. We're on
It was
episode 13.
ages ago,
Yeah.
Joe.
I,
Yeah.
I feel like we must have early on. I think we did.
Yeah, we probably
I,
touched on it, but it was
I don't
very
know.
fun.
It's such a good game.
I enjoyed it, and although we lost, I still was like, okay, I want to play it again. I know
Oh,
we
didn't just lose, bro. We got smoked.
we got blown up and
Yes.
demolished. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. It's the mechanics of the game, how okay. Yeah, the cats just keep coming in. This is ridiculous.
It's fun.
No, yeah, the mechanics of the game, how I mean, it just keeps getting harder and harder as you go.
Yeah.
There's no getting easier, and it's the countdown of the clock internally of like, okay, we need to attack these things. We need to defuse these bombs. Somebody needs to be in this spot so we can get this off. I mean, like the strategy in there.
Oh.
It was great, man. I really loved
So
it.
good.
Actually, talking about it, I want to play it
I
again.
know. I just said that same thought.
We got to break it out soon,
Yes.
man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. No, I absolutely 100% agree. That game quickly jumped up high on my list. I really, really like it. And we had the cool pirate music in the background.
Yes.
It was because it's such a cinematic game. And,
Yes.
and no, I really like it. And I have heard nothing but good things about the Kraken expansion.
Ooh.
So I think we have to pick that up too. Now, again, making the game harder seems like it would be a really bad idea in my opinion, only
Right.
because that game is so hard. But I've
Right.
heard that tentacles come up from the Kraken and like you have to literally deal with the tentacles and you're dealing with like the little skull
the
things and the ship's blowing up.
What were they called? The deck hands or something?
Yeah, the
like
deck
that?
hands. Yeah, yep.
Mhm.
It was just, I mean, yeah, the game checks all the boxes for me. Like, and
Super
it was
fun.
cool because I got the little mini pack that came with it, which was actually unexpected. I didn't expect to get it. I thought I was going to get the cardboard things, but it showed up with the pirates, and I was like, oh, that's super dope.
Yeah, super fun. And even though like it still has that pandemonium kind of feel,
Yeah.
it was better than the other. What is
the pandemic rapid response?
Pandemic rapid response. Yeah, that for me was too much.
Yeah.
Like the Dead Man Tells No Tales actually was manageable, and it was manageable chaos, and there was like time to talk and figure stuff out and strategize and figure out what we were doing as a team. Right, the pandemic rapid response was just like chaos.
Yeah,
that's
anxiety in a box.
I can't do that.
But like, the thing that my favorite part about Dead Man Tell No Tales is the action thing. So you have those tokens, and then if I don't use all my actions, I can actually give them to you.
Yeah.
So you have more action choices, and then you just give me those tokens back because everyone has 6 tokens. But if I only use 3 of my 6, I can give the next person 3. And then if they don't use all of them, you can give them to the next player. You know what I mean? And I just feel like that is like a really neat mechanic because I can be like, hey, look, right now I need to stay here, so I'm not going to move. So I'm not going to use these actions because I don't need to leave. I need to be present. You actually need these actions because you need to go over here. You need to get this treasure. You need to get this thing off, and you need to get off this boat. So I need you to do that. So here's 3 extra coins. Like,
Yep.
and the strategy in that is
Yep.
actually really, really fun. And I thought a unique mechanic that, I don't know, maybe other games do it, but I really liked how they
Yeah.
did it.
I thought it was cool as well. Yeah, it created another level of strategy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that Marvel Zombies did none of that for me. None of
Okay.
it.
Good to know. Good
I
to know.
know. And again, I didn't play it on the hard mode, but even after that, like Chris and Anthony and his son Anthony, so Anthony, and Chris, they were like, yeah, we didn't even really get touched, man. It wasn't challenging even on the hardest level. And they
Mm.
played it, like I said, they played the tutorial. They then played an easier mode, and then they played the hard one because they were like, we need a challenge. And they walked away like, yep, I wasn't really challenged. And again, I'm pretty sure they played it right. They walked through it 3 times, and they had the rule book present, and they, so as best they could. But either way, it didn't wow me, which I hoped
Yeah.
it would, but I'm glad it didn't because now I don't have to buy it, right? But yeah,
Yes.
Dead Men Dead Men Tell No Tales. That's a hard game to compete with in my mind. It was just so fun, but
Mhm.
that's what I want out of a cooperative experience, though,
Yes.
right? I want to feel like I'm in something and that we're working together. And then that there's that sense of urgency, not necessarily in the pandemic rapid response way, but just in general, where I feel like, wow, like this matters and things are going on and
Right.
what I do
Yep.
matters and how
Yep.
I
Every choice you make has an impact.
yeah, and Dead Men Tell I can't even say it. Dead Men Tell No Tales also does a good job of mitigating like the alpha player. Right. So like the one person that just tells everyone what to do, like
Right.
you get that happens in cooperatives, but I think there's just enough choices and people are in different situations where we all had to talk about it.
Yep.
Right. It all had to be discussed. Well, yeah, we could do this. We could do that. What do you guys think's the best option? Here's what I was thinking. Like it was a really conversational. Now, again, someone could take that over. We were playing with a good group, so maybe
Yeah.
that was helpful, but it didn't feel alpha gamey. It felt like, okay, we need to talk through what we're going to do because holy crap, this ship is blowing up and we need to do something about it. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was just, that's such a fun experience. And yeah, now talking about it, we definitely have to get that game to the
Yep.
table.
We'll
ASAP.
do that
Yeah.
soon. Yeah.
Yes, we will. So yeah, Marvel Zombies, like I said, did not do that. Also played Azul Queen's Garden. I had actually got this for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I had asked for it because I had heard really good things. I like Azul. And this one was very unique, a little bit more puzzly. I would say a little bit more frustrating at times than regular Azul. Basically, you've got these little like hexes, and you're kind of creating this garden area, but the tile placement's different. Like you have to place tiles next to each other that are the same color but different icons, or I'm probably misremembering, the icons had to match, but they're different colors. Like you couldn't have the same color, same icon. It had to be like varying. It was really wild. And then the scoring and stuff. Again, got smoked in it, but had a lot of fun. I think I came in second, maybe. I don't know, but it was still a lot of fun. Like I said, a little bit more puzzly, which I enjoyed thoroughly, which was fun.
A lot different than the original Azul, or
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the same kind of thing where you got those cool clunky little bits that all look like candies, but they're little hexes. So you have that, which is going on, but like the drafting is different. There's like a whole like hex thing that you can draft, and then you got to be able to build it. And
kind of looks like a honeycomb, almost like
it looks like a honeycomb. Yep.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of paying out like some of your things to be able to do it, and then you get stuck with a lot of negative points if you don't manage it properly. It's a lot more challenging. There's a lot more going on, so it's definitely a harder ride. But it was fun. And again, I think I was just playing it with a good group, and we had a lot of fun. There was Grace, which was nice. Like, oh, yep, I can't do that. I thought I could. I'm sorry. I had to go back and kind of take the turn because I placed something wrong or whatever. Like, you have to do that a couple times. I'm starting to learn a lot more with games that it's like the first time I play, I don't care about winning. I just need to learn how to play it.
Yes.
So I'm going to try things. I'm going to mess things up. Like, all right, cool. But now I've got it. So then I'm going to go back and play. So Azul's Queen's I can't. Apparently talking is not the thing I do on this podcast.
It's the S's.
Azul Queen's Garden. Azul Queen's Garden was super good, dude. It was actually, yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. And I got to play Small World. So Bo, the executive director there at Camp Living Waters, has been asking me to play Small World like a lot. And we played it on Thursday night. I went up early, so we played Small World. And it was fun, man. It was fun.
Yeah.
I just like a classic game. Little area control. Tile. You're just kind of like placing out your people, and you're trying to
Yeah.
like take over other areas with these other people. Very, very simple mechanic. A lot of fun, and we had a really close game. So it was like 86, 83, 81, and then somebody was like 65, and I was the 83. So I was like, oh, cool. Like I didn't feel like I got completely dusted in that one. But yeah, neat little game. Excuse me. And
Neat little game. I see what you did there.
yeah,
Small
not a
world.
small world. That was an unintentional one, but it was a neat little game for a small world, which was actually a relatively big world. The board was kind of big. But yeah, it was a great time. Great time. And
Cool.
I know I've done all this talking so far, but we'll get to a couple games that Ray's played here too. So he was on a cruise. I was at a retreat.
Yeah.
With board
No.
games.
You have a lot to talk about. It's all good, man.
Nah, well, I don't want to, yeah, either way. So I played Cosmoctopus for the first time. That game's wild, but it's Cosmoctopus is the name. It should be wild. I guess you're not expecting it to be benign. But it was actually really fun. You're just, you're moving around this little octopus thing and you're collecting resources and you're getting these action cards and you're trying to put them out so that you can create little synergies, kind of like Splendor. Like once I have a card, it gives me more resources to do more things. And I'm trying to get these tentacles, and it's the first to 8 tentacles wins the game. And the pieces are really, really sweet. It's really cool. It's very simple to pick up, not challenging. You could only move like orthogonally, so you're only moving up, down, left, or right. You can't move diagonally. You can only move one space. If you want to move more spaces, you got to pay in order to do it. And like people would, you'd have your move like kind of ready to go, and then somebody before you would move their piece like the wrong direction, and you're like, are you kidding me right now? If I'm going to be able to get this to work, I have to spend crazy amounts of money to get over there, and I need that over there. And we had a lot of fun with that one. It was just really, really cool. And I actually got to play that. There were some teenagers that were present there, and I played it with them, and we just had a really good time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of looks like almost like a fun family game, kind of.
Yeah, it really wasn't
easy to play.
Yeah, once you learn the symbols, again, not as many, not overwhelmingly complicated. It's almost like a little bit of a worker placement because you're moving that little octopus piece. And then resource management and hand management. You're just playing your hand out and trying to generate stuff. So you have costs that you're playing out of your hand, and so you're paying the cost to lay down the cards. And then once you have those cards down, some of them give you resources, some of them are instant actions, some of them are ongoing effects, then there's victory points. And ultimately, like I said, it's the person that, not victory points, but like ways to get those tentacles. And then you'd get the 8 and then win. And so, I ran some pretty cool combos. I was close to winning. It was fun. It was a good time. I felt like everybody was in it. Like there was not like one guaranteed winner, and then that came clear at the end when that person pretty much won, and we knew we couldn't do anything to stop it. But yeah, it was really fun actually, so it was good. Yeah, man. And then like I said, I played Anachrony again, which is cool. It had been like about 2 years since I had played it last, and it took us a little bit of time to go back through the rule book. Remembered about 70% of it, but had a blast, man. I'm glad we took the 30 minutes to go back and reset it up and learn it all again. And just a really, really fun game. I mean, anytime you can bring time travel into a board game, like I'm interested. I want to figure out what that is.
How long did it take you guys to get through the game?
Just a couple hours.
Yeah,
it wasn't so bad. I mean, it pretty much became our Saturday night after the message. And most of that was because we had to relearn some things. And so myself and Jeremy, who he's the other guy that supplied a lot of the games for the weekend. He and I had both played it, but we were both like, I need refreshment, right? So if we didn't have that 30 minutes on top of the 2 hours, we might have been able to play a couple other games, but either way, we had a blast. It was super fun. Jeremy smoked us. He did super well. Yeah, but it was really good. Got to play. This guy Michael came, and he volunteers with Love Thy Nerd a lot. And so he got to share a little bit at the retreat and like share what Love Thy Nerd does. And
sweet.
So that was cool. He also played an Ocarina with us as well, and we just had a great time, man, sitting at the table and figuring out how to replay it. But it's a really cool worker placement game. I mean, honestly, you're basically just trying to gather resources, build these labs so that you can get off the planet before the planet's destroyed. And meanwhile, you've developed time travel so you can ask your future self for resources. Your future self gives you the resources you need. You can ask for up to 2 of the resources. But if you don't pay them back within a time period, like you start to get these paradoxes. And if you get 3 paradoxes, you get an anomaly. An anomaly removes portions of your board, and then you have to pay to get those things dealt with. And then at the end of the game, if you haven't dealt with stuff, you lose points. Wow. And so and everyone's got these objectives and these factions. It's a game with a lot of symbols, lots of symbols. There's like no writing in the game whatsoever. There is, but it's very, very minimal. And it's really dope. Like you have these exosuits and you're trying to like send out, you have to power up the exosuit. So like the first phase is this power up, and you determine how many exosuits you're going to want to power up. And there's first 3 are free, but then you got to pay for the other ones, and they cost the radiation. And if you don't have that, you can't use them, obviously. So you're trying to manage your resources to be able to power up your exosuits so that you can then plug in the appropriate workers, because certain spaces required certain workers. And so you had to collect the certain workers. And then after your workers come back, they get tired. They got to go to sleep. So then you got to pay your workers. You got to replenish your workers with water. And if you don't have water, you can actually kill the morale and just like it's so cool. You can then kill the morale and be like, wake up, dude. I'm sick of you guys sleeping, and not pay them water. And then you start to you can go negative in points, and then you just wake them up and you try, and then you can like regain your morale and stuff. It's super dope, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite in depth there. I can't imagine what it took, how long this game took to bring to market and to create, and all the thought processes and play testing and everything to make it run smoothly, a game that makes sense, that complex,
Yeah, that's the thing. Make it make sense, right?
Yeah.
But like Dead Men Tell No Tales, it's cinematic, right? Like, because when you're playing, you hit this point, and it's like impact is what they call it, like the impact point. And when impact hits, bro, the whole game changes. Like now all of a sudden the top of the board flips, because it's like this little thing you place over the top of the board flips, and you can see these like meteors now are coming down. And then the spaces all change. So when impact hits, you place these little hexes on top of the already existing hexes, and now all the spaces are one-time use, so that when you pull your guy back and you recall your workers, which happens at the end, all those spaces are now destroyed, and they can never be used again. And they have these like one-time bonuses. The whole board changes. And so you're like, yeah. And what you're trying to do is complete your objective and then get off the planet before the planet explodes. So you can like leave the planet with 1 worker. That's all you have to do, is take 1 of your exosuits and leave the planet with them, and then you win. And then you can still take turns to do stuff and try to get more points. But like, if you go into and you leave the planet, and let's say you didn't also hit you have a couple end time bonuses, you can't like try and fulfill them once you've left. So you have to time it, because if you don't get off, you don't get the points, bro. But it has like a really cinematic feel, and like you feel like, man, like the pressure is ramping up. I'm trying to do every little thing I can before the game ends in this round 7 and get off the island. Because if I don't manage my workers well here, because the planet's being destroyed, I've lost exosuits and stuff, like I've got to time this pretty well, like try to plan it. I left the planet too early. I got pressured. Jeremy, I think, got in my head. I was like, I had 1 move left. He's like, you could exit the planet. I'm like, yeah, you know what, I can. And I did. And I was like, why did I do that? I could have finished my objective. But man, yeah, it was really fun though, man. The game, that sounds fun. Super
yeah, we're gonna have to make some time to set some time apart to play that as well. Yeah, and also seeing it on your shelf, when I've come over for game nights and stuff, and seeing the pieces, the exosuits that you have that go on the miniatures and everything, it just looks visually looks amazing as well. So yeah.
And the artwork, everything's so good, dude. Like, I like the game a lot.
Did you play? Did you have any thematic music playing while you guys were playing?
In this, no, we actually just had like low worship, which was
Okay.
definitely a different vibe.
Uh-huh. I
In
thought
that.
maybe you had like the Interstellar soundtrack or something going on
No,
while
but
you're
that would be
playing it.
super. We could do that in my space, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there it was too much to like try to play it. Like, so we just had
Right.
like very low worship to kind of fill
The space
the
where
space.
you're at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no pun intended, to fill the space. But yeah, no, super fun game, man. Super fun. Yeah, so that was kind of that's what I was playing at the Game Changer, and there's a few other games I played recently. But we'll hear from you, Ray. What have you been?
Yeah, yeah. So, man, I feel like I'm lacking all the amazing games, but I guess that's what happens when you have a whole weekend and 60 people show up to do nothing but play games and worship together. You're going to
Yes,
get a lot of gameplay in, so
no
that
doubt.
makes sense. Yeah, but no, actually. This past Saturday, we had, while you were out of town, so I got the opportunity to run the game night that we
Yeah.
do monthly, and small crowd, but still got to play a new game. Got to play Foundations of Rome,
Mm,
which actually Jeremy, that you were just speaking of, brought
yeah.
Foundation of Rome and taught us how to play. We had 4 players, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and he went all out and got the he has the expansion. We didn't get the expansion in that, but he got all the coating on all the pieces. So all the buildings have like a whitewash over them. So
Mm,
each bit, like, man, the intricacies of the artwork on these buildings, like it looked like I was holding small pieces of marble from the
mm,
Roman time period. You know what I mean? And then the
wow.
coins that they had, like the denarii or whatever, they were actually metal coins that
Yeah.
had like Caesar on them. I mean, it made the gameplay that much more fun for me.
Wow.
But yeah, Foundations are wrong. Pretty simple game. It looked intimidating setting it up, but once he explained it, I mean, it honestly was a pretty quick explanation. And basically, you have a board with A through J, and depending on how many players you have, that's the space that you'll use. And there's 3 different eras, so you got 1, 2, 3 decks of cards, and you just draft these different cards, and you basically buy them, and you're trying to create space for you to be able to place your building.
Mm,
And once you place your building, either it's going to help you get people, or it's going to help you, which there's on the VP tracker, there's a population tracker, and you can move up there, get victory points from that as well. And then the other from the other buildings are the money. And so that helps you when you gain money, you get extra
yeah.
money so you can buy extra cards. Now, when a deck runs out on one of the eras, that era's over, you collect your points for that era and any bonuses you have, and then you go into the next era. Well, what's kind of crazy about it is like these random, like E9 comes up, right? And you're like, I'm nowhere around E9 and there's
Mm,
nothing around there. So it's almost like it's hard to kind of like figure out what you want to buy, but it's almost a little bit of luck of draw, a little bit of
sure.
strategy, and just a lot of fun. I ended up losing, but I would tell you,
Mm.
I was pretty close to winning. Actually, it was down to the final count. I'll say I did pretty good for my first time playing. Jeremy played it like I think he said this was his 4th or 5th time since getting the game, and of course he's explained it,
Hmm.
and so he has a little bit better understanding of the civic buildings and how in scoring is going to work and some of the bonuses,
Yeah.
and he beat me by 1 point, like
Oh, wow.
1 point that came through, like, and it actually was kind of some crazy stuff that happened. So Phil was playing, he put a building down that actually took a bonus away from me,
Oh,
and so yeah, I would have smoked everybody like by like 10 points if that wouldn't have happened. So
so it's
I
Phil's
don't win.
fault.
It's Phil's fault basically that I lost. Yeah, I didn't want to really say it, but you said it, so it's fine.
Perfect.
But no, it was a lot of fun to win. And we even, one of the people playing, um, she's not a huge gamer, but she elected to play. She had fun as well. She said afterwards, the next day, actually, we had brunch and we were all talking, and she was like, yeah, the game was fun, and it actually was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be when I first saw it, like once you got going, once you know what's
Yeah.
going on. And so I would definitely play it again. It has that replayability where I'm like, yeah, let's get down in it again.
Cool.
Easy, quick to bring to the table. And like I said, artwork and all the little pieces and everything are
Yeah.
really, really well done. Yeah.
Nice.
And this is a bonus. And it had a super nice box, like
Yeah.
storage for everything. Everything fit. That good
Mm-hmm.
feeling that you get when everything just slides in perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's
Unlike a tent or like a sleeping bag. Yeah, I got it.
yeah, exactly. When they just give you a sack to throw everything in and then you got to sort out. It was like every single piece had, each board just came with all of the buildings, and they had their slots like precisely put, and then it had a plastic covering that would go over your specific building color that fit perfectly. And if even one building was off, that wouldn't fit, and then that fit inside the bigger box. And then I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, man, yeah, it gave me a great sense of satisfaction helping putting that game
Put it
away.
away.
I'll just say
Nice.
that. I'll just say that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've heard really good things about that. I've heard exactly what you said, that it looks intimidating, but it's actually very accessible and easy to play,
Yep.
and would even be a good gateway game for people,
Mhm.
which is really cool. I mean, for the amount of work that they put in to still make the game accessible and not overwhelmingly complicated, I think is phenomenal. Like, I've never seen it in person, but any pictures I've seen, the game looks incredible. You sent me some photos, and I was like, dang, that looks so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
it was. Yeah, it was great. And then we also got, that was the first time I played that. And then actually you got planted and you
Hmm.
left that game as well. And you were talking about how simple it was. You played it with your family and your kids,
Yeah.
how easy it was to teach. We were supposed to play to get a chance to, so I brought it home. And my wife, who does not like board games, does not like not that she doesn't like board games, she doesn't like the heavier games, the ones
Yeah.
that are more involved, right? So I was like, hey, babe, let's try this game out. Like, Joe got this game. You're growing plants. I think you'll really like it. And so we sat down and played. Now listen to this. Now, normally she's like, I don't care. I don't care about winning. I'm here. I'm here because
Hmm.
you want to play. I actually was on call for work at the hospital. So while we're playing, like Saturday morning, we're eating like breakfast and we're hanging out. I got called into work. And she's like, wait, before you go, let's just finish this round. We got time for another round. Like, she wouldn't even
That's
let me go to
awesome.
work. Yeah, because
Yeah.
she was so excited about playing, which she
Cool.
ended up winning. And I figured out that theme matters for her. Like,
Yeah.
it's a game. So Planet, though, getting into the game, is basically a game where you're just growing plants, and
Hmm.
it's pretty simple. It's easy setup. It's a closed draft where you pass your hands back and forth. Basically, you have your plants, and then you have items or tools and the stuff to help grow your plants. So plant food and water and sunlight, and you get your plants. You see what you need to grow them, and then you build your hand based on that, and it all happens simultaneously. And as you grow plants, there's a limit to how many plants you can have. Your tools help you gain other things while you are drafting your cards. And then you have decorations, so certain plants can go on like a shelf or a hanging basket, and that will give
Hmm.
you an extra victory point at the end, right? And so it was really easy teach. And
Hmm.
like so like you said, I jumped online and I watched a review of a setup. And so we're watching a 10-minute video while we're setting up and start playing. We're like, oh, we got this. Jumped in, started playing right away. Made sense. Was easy to
Hmm.
grasp. The pieces actually are really nice. And this is like a
Super
game that
nice.
you can get it at Target for like $28. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like the pieces are nice. It's easy. And I think that, it'd be really manageable for anybody. And it's, the theme is cool too. Like, we like plants, we like gardening, we like that. And you can learn plant names, like the actual scientific name of plants on there.
You
I was like,
can.
this is sweet. It's educational at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
no doubt. No doubt.
so that was fun. So then
Yeah.
we actually played that after Foundations of Rome.
Mm.
Sorry, my voice is getting a little scratchy now.
It makes it more fun though. It's like, yeah, right, job,
Yeah.
Batman. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, just in case you guys weren't aware, if you probably are now, I'm a little under the weather, but I'm managing, so we're okay.
Under the weather rail? Ooh.
Under the weather rail, yes.
Under the weather rail. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I saw Planted being played at the Game Changer retreat, and I walked over and I was like, wow, I've seen this game on the shelf, but I never really thought anything of it. And I just looked at the components and I was like, these pieces are phenomenal. Wow, this
Yeah.
game looks gorgeous, right?
Yep.
Like, it looks really good. And I'm like, man, this is like kind of wood. I'm like, wow, this is the water pieces really
Yeah.
got me. I was like,
That,
those are
me
super
too.
dope.
Me too. Same thing. The water and the sunlight are like
Yeah.
the water is just a water drop, like a blue water drop plastic mold, and the
Yeah.
sunlight is like a little yellow sun. And then the other piece, you have your green thumbs, which are wood, and then your
Yeah.
growth, which are little leaves that are wood as well. But really, really nice pieces.
Yeah.
Player board is really nice. The cards,
Mhm.
though, the one thing I will say that I kind of have a little bit of a dislike, and it's not even, it doesn't necessarily affect the game of play, but the cards. So you have your resource cards, which are your water, your green
Mhm.
thumbs, your plant food, and all that. And then you have your item cards. And so when you're drafting, when you're picking your hand, you have to pick 6 of your resources and 2 of your item cards, which are your tools
Yep.
and your
Decorations.
Well, if they would have made the backs of those cards, I'm sure that it was a
Yeah.
financial thing of making all the backs all the same, but it would have made more sense if the backs of the item cards or the resource cards would have been different or
Well,
separate.
yeah, I feel you, but I think they had to keep that the same because again, like you don't know what I'm drafting, right? So
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess
so because if you see me take the item, you're like, crap, he took the, you know what I mean? Like this way you have no idea what I'm
yeah,
drafting and what's left.
yeah, that's true. I guess like I could see that in a 2-player game, but like in a 4-player game, I don't think that you would really, and everything has happened simultaneously. So like I wasn't even paying attention to people grabbing cards. I'm looking at my plant, what I need, my tools, and what's going to give me the most. And so I
Sure.
don't know that I would necessarily see somebody
Yeah.
else grab it.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
the reason I say it though is again it goes back to what I was just talking about with Foundations Rome and putting the game away. When I was putting the game away, I was like, how do you keep these separated? Like every time you pull it out, you have to separate them out to put them in their respective decks so you can draw from them. If they had separate backs, it would be easier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So what I do when I was putting it away is because they have separate discard piles, so like they're already
Mm-hmm.
separated, and then I would just flip them up, and then I just put them down like next to each other,
I
and then
wasn't that smart, Joe.
you're
I wasn't
good.
that smart
And
to
then
do
I
that.
actually put resources on top of them so that they don't like move and blend. And
Ah.
so far it's been successful. But
Well,
now that I know that you're the one who put my game away, and
I
I
was just
open
gonna
it
say,
up.
well, hey, when you open your game up, there might be a little surprise for you in there. I'm just gonna let you know.
Bro, I had to get over that with the retreat because I had all my games and I'm pretty meticulous. I mean, you know that I have everything in
Uh-huh.
very particular bags and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I have to get over it. So I'll let people play them and put them back any which way they want to put them back
Yeah.
because
Yep. Yeah.
that was a big step for me, man. I was like, oh my gosh, bro.
Well, that's actually, it's funny you say
nerve-wracking.
that. So Jeremy said that he didn't bring Foundations of Rome to the retreat for that reason because he didn't want people putting it back wrong because
Wrong.
it is so particular in the way that you
Yeah.
put it back. And he was like, I just want to be able to watch. And so he was like, I just figured I better not bring it. So
No,
it's
that
like,
makes sense.
yeah, I support that.
Yeah, but it's cool that Kim really enjoyed the game, man. Because like, and even get excited and light up, like you said. Like I like this. The phrase is always like, you know, not every game's for everyone, but there's a game for everyone, right?
Mhm.
Like there's so many cool themes and different games that I think that people just don't know about, right? And so like, if you tap into a theme or you tap into a mechanic that someone enjoys, because what I like about Planted is yes, it's a very easy and accessible game. But let's take Kim as an example. She doesn't like heavier games, but in that game, there's still a lot of components like a heavier game. You
Mhm.
got some really cool
Right.
pieces, your resource management, and then at the end, you can't keep your resources. You got to
Yep.
spend them or lose them. And so, like, I think that there's elements in the game that, you know, bring in kind of a feel that can almost serve as like a gateway game for future games. But
Yes.
you know, I get that's why I'm saying I think that yeah, okay, the theme works, the mechanics all work, but that kind of breaks that open where it's like, hey, there are other games like this, you know,
Right.
that deal with this kind of theme or this. This is why if you look on my shelf, I have a lot of like woodland creature games and like different
Yeah.
things because, you know, Stephanie's not playing Anachrony. She's played it
Right.
with me one time. She was like, never again. I don't need, and she did really well. And she's like, I don't need that. I don't like the theme. I don't really care for it. But she'll play Dinosaur Island or Dinosaur World or like
Mhm.
Everdell. Like she loves Everdell, you know,
Yep.
and again, so I think theme matters.
It
And,
does.
you know, and I think that, it's important to know your audience. And like, you guys played Ticket to Ride, I think, and Azul, like, and she
Mm-hmm.
got into those as well, which are cool.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
no, I think that's
That's
fun. Yeah, no, that's what's up, man. Yeah, speaking of Ticket to Ride, I also got to play, and I had played this at home, not as part of the Game Changer, but Ticket to Ride Old West and Ticket to Ride France.
uh-huh.
They come in one box and you just kind of flip them over, and
Oh,
those
that's
were
sweet.
super fun as well. But I slept on Ticket to Ride. We did this in an earlier podcast,
Uh-huh.
and it was like, wow, I was like, who knew I would have liked a train game? Like, not me, not this guy. But yeah, Ticket to Ride Old West and Ticket to Ride France were super fun. Ticket to Ride France is actually really rad. I like that one a lot. And it does help. It does help that I won it, but in
That
Ticket to
always
Ride
helps.
France, like all the tracks, they're all blank. And so like you on your turn, you do the drafting, like I'm either taking a couple of cards here or whatever, and you get to take a track and place it on the board of whatever
Hmm.
color and length you want, and you
Oh,
place it. So you're trying to build like your own tracks, right? But people could
yeah.
take it. So let's say I took a 4 pink and I placed it down, and I didn't realize that Stephanie had 4 pink. She could claim that route. Even though I
Oh.
built it, she could claim it. And I'd be like, yo,
Oh,
that's
wow.
crazy. And she did that a number of times. So I was determined to win, and I won by like 40 points because I was like, stop taking my stuff. But or you can like cut people off, and like it was a little bit more take thatty in some regards, but super fun. And then Old West was different because you're placed in cities, and if anyone builds off of your city to start one of their routes, like
Mm-hmm.
or like connecting or whatever, then not start it, but like let's say I'm building my train down and then I get to your city.
You
I'm going to
use it.
continue, but I used your city. You get
Yeah.
the points on those trains, not
Yeah.
me.
That's
And
cool.
I was like, okay, that's hard, man. It makes
Yeah.
and we played with this like a little alien variant, and that bounces around the board, and it was really fun. But definitely
Like
enjoying.
Kazoo, isn't that his name from the Flintstones?
Oh, yes. But this one's name is Alvin.
Oh,
Alvin the
okay.
alien. My son
Okay.
goes, "That's a stupid name for an alien." I started cracking up. I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever.
Uh,
But nah, super fun though. And we played 10 Penny Parks again recently. And my 7-year-old is now, well, he's about to be 8, but he's now played it a couple of times and he loves that game.
Oh, Tenpenny Parks is super fun,
It
man. That's
is.
another one that I would love to get to the table soon and
Yeah.
play again. I just had the chance to play it the one time.
It
Um,
sounds like a game day brewing where we're gonna
eh,
play Dead Men Tell No Tales, Tenpenny Parks, and Anachrony all in one
yeah,
day.
that does. Yeah, it sounds like a great lineup to me, man.
Yeah.
Well, I know 2 out of 3 great games, and based on your word, I'm sure that 3 out of 3.
Oh,
But
you'll love Anachrony once you
oh
figure out
yeah,
what's going on. Like, yeah,
yeah.
you'll be
I'm already into it. I love the sci-fi. I
yeah,
love the time travel and all that. That speaks to some of my joys, pastimes and stuff, man. So
yeah.
I'm with it.
Dope, dope. Well, hey, hopefully, if you've been tracking with us this long, this gives you the board game fix for the Christian board gamers, as you got to hear us talk about many, many games, and all that. And let's say you heard my take on Marvel Zombies, and I just said, it wasn't that great, and you want to like shoot that down or tell me how wrong I am. Dude, do that in love. Do that in love. Don't be mean about it.
That's right.
But leave us a comment, send us an email, do whatever you got to do to say, Joe, you're wrong, you missed it. And so did whoever you played with, because I would love to transfer that information and say, guys, we missed it. Marvel Zombies apparently is this great thing that we need to dive into.
Mm.
I am not currently feeling that, but if you can convince me, I'm all ears, man. And all that. And so, yeah, and I mean, you kind of hear the games that we're sort of into through this podcast and that kind of thing. If there's a game that you're like, hey, you guys should check this game out if you haven't. Ray and I both really like worker placement, resource
Yes.
management kind of games. So
Yep.
if you're like, yeah, you got to check out this game, always down for references. So if you've got a game suggestion, please comment that, make that known so that we can learn more games, play more games, and then hopefully like them as much as you do. So that way we don't get in the podcast and share your game and say, didn't really love it. But either way, we want to hear from you and engage with you. And again, like I said, as the teaser, this next podcast that we're recording is Kingdom Inspired Diversity in Board Games. We've got a lot to talk through, and hopefully we can start bridging some gaps here. So we're really excited about that as well. So if you have been listening to this podcast and you have made it thus far, as always, we say thank you. Ray, do you have any profound closing arguments?
Keep getting those games to the table and keep fellowshipping. Let's hear about it.
Love it. Couldn't say it better myself. That's what's up. Well, you can find us on our Facebook group, again, at Christian Board Gamers. All of our socials are Christian Board Gamers, and you can find us online at our website at christianboardgamers.com. Again, join the Facebook group, not the page. The page will be lacking, but the group is thriving. We are almost at 1,000 members.
Almost. Yeah, we're
super excited.
15 members away.
Yeah, we were at 985 at the start of this episode. So
yeah,
it's been super cool. And at 1,000, we're giving away a copy of Deliverance. So maybe that's already happened by the time this podcast gets released. I think it will have already happened. So somebody's already got it. Yeah, awesome. And a copy of New Kingdom Gardeners, which is super dope. Yeah, so really excited to give those away, which is pretty cool. And just huge shout out to the designers, both Andrew and Jack, because their willingness to do such a thing is mind-blowing to me and super cool, and hopefully our community appreciates it as much as I do. Excuse me. Gosh, Ray and I have both been dealing with the sinus thing, so either way. But we are going to end it here, and so here is our little outro that we do, which is Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine before others in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Let's continue to be ambassadors for the Lord Jesus Christ in all that we say and do. So until the next time, God bless. Peace.
Peace.